The last of our netball reports for the day, and we're checking in with Sally Bywater and the KNT Association. Sally, thank you for joining us. Hope you stayed dry on the weekend.
Almost. It's great to be back, but yeah, I don't think anyone lucked out of that rain last week and the cold conditions, but hopefully it's better this week.
Yeah, well, you'll be hoping because it's not looking promising at this stage, is it?
It is not. So, yeah, we are definitely really hit those wintry and wet conditions, and we play outdoor sport in winter for goodness knows what reason, but that's the breaks.
Well, we'll see who's up to the challenge this weekend. Obviously, the conditions might be a little bit subpar, but yeah, you've just got to play to them and hope for the best. So we're going into round 9 this weekend. Before we get to that, let's take a look back to round 8 because it was a good round of netball, and we talked about it last week. It was a big top-of-the-table clash. Border Districts and Keith, and Border Districts came away with a pretty big win in the end, 49-31, so they're sitting on top of the ladder now.
Yes, they are. Yeah, both Border Districts gave Keith their first loss for the season, so they've both got 6 wins and 1 loss, but yeah, put them to the top of the table, but probably not as close as we thought. 18 goals in the end, but it was quite even at half-time. Border Districts were up by 5, which they got that break in the first quarter, but the second half they really stormed and had a 27-14 second half, which really set up their good win. Emma Hausler from Border Districts was really good all day under the post, scoring lots of goals for Borders, and Poppy Moyle Reedy in the great driver in the middle. Steph Lubke playing at both ends for Keith was creative and good, but yeah, didn't quite get the Keith over the line, but Borders having a great lead and a great win by 18 goals.
All right, so well done to Border Districts. I think that's actually the first time all year that Keith haven't been on top of the ladder because, of course, they were undefeated up until this point. So Keith and Border Districts now both sitting at 6-1 as we approach sort of the midway point of the season. Did Keith have any players missing, or was it just a bit of a bad day for them going down by 18 goals?
Yeah, no, they had their full lineup there. So, yeah, obviously just a bit... But maybe the wet and wintry conditions they didn't quite like or adapt to as quickly as Borders. But, yeah, they had a bit of a switch up in their goal circle. So, yeah, hopefully this week, yeah, but they'll be indoors. But, yeah, full time, both teams had their full contingent. So, yeah, a great game, but a good win by Borders.
All right, well, you don't win grand finals in June, so we'll keep an eye on that little rivalry. As we get towards the finals, I've got a sneaky feeling they might be meeting again at some point. We'll move on to our next game, which was another exciting one. Penola had a close win over Mundalla, 41-36.
Yeah, good win here by Penola. We thought this would be a close defensive game in this game. So Penola, the conditions weren't great, so it was a bit scrappy conditions for both teams. They adjusted to those weather conditions. But once they got there, Penola's April Possingham shot with confidence. But then the other goalie, Tegan Lithgow, done it a bit hard against really strong defenders in Casey Bernhardt and Libby Hawker for Mundalla. So a great game here. Penola were 23-16 up at half-time, so really consolidate that. But Mundalla really fought back in the last quarter, winning that quarter 12-5. So, you know, a couple more minutes in that game, it could have gone either way, but Penola hanging on strong in really bad conditions.
So Mundalla dropped to 3-4 with that loss. They're sort of in touch with the top 4 or 5 teams, but they might need a couple of upset wins to jump over any of them. And for Penola, they're sitting at 5 wins, 1 loss and 1 draw, and they've actually got the best percentage in the league. So they're going along quite nicely, but they haven't played Keith yet. They play them next week, so we'll get to that in a moment, but that's certainly something to look forward to as we keep an eye on them going forward. But we'll get through the rest of this round first. Kybe Bolite had a good win over Kingston at 66-51.
Yeah, look, good game here by Kingston. Kingston were actually up by 1 goal at half-time or down by 1 goal at half-time in this game. So I think they started off really well. Kybe just consolidated and having a great second half, but Kingston competitive for most of this game, and which was great to see, and Kybe holding strong, and they've got some really good goalies in Charlie Hodges and Chelsea Ball, which are very accurate. So they, came up against the young defender, Piper Stenner. She's only a junior still, but really put up to those Kybe girls. But Penola, Kybe holding strong and getting a good win.
Yes, good win by Kybe there. So they're making a charge up the ladder themselves. They're into 4th at 4 wins, 2 losses and a draw. Of course, they had that draw with Penola earlier in the year. So 2 of the challenges there. And our last game for the week, Narracourt 41 over Bordertown 30.
Yeah, good win here by Naracoorte again. But most of this game was played in fairly decent conditions. But yeah, the second half was a bit scrappy once the rain set in. Bordertown still searching for that first win. Couldn't quite get there last week, but it was 16-21 at half time. So they were in the game at half time, but Naracoorte 20-14 in the second half really set it up and had a great last quarter, which puts them in that top 5 on 3 wins and 4 losses. So that Naracoorte needed that win to stay in touch with the top 5.
All right, great win by Naracoorte there. Lucindale, of course, had the bye on the weekend, so they'll be back in action. We'll start off the round 9 previews with their game. They're hosting Kingston, so they'll be fresh off the week off, but Kingston are coming off the back of some pretty good form. Are Kingston any chance of the upset in Lucindale here?
I think this will be a great game. Yeah, Lucindale are sitting on 3 wins and 4 losses, so they're outside of the 5 at the moment. They'll really want this win after that week off to stay in touch with the top 5. Kingston, they could be doing anything this year. I think they're a really good team to be watching. They're full of youth and it's just great to see. I think they'll put it up to Lucindale. I think Lucindale will hang on so they can play finals at the end of the year.
And Naracoorte will be hosting Border Districts, so a really good challenge for Naracoorte here. Their form's been building over the last couple of weeks. We know they didn't quite have the wins on the board early, but they had a really good percentage, and we thought maybe they would storm up the ladder at some point, and they're into 5th now. So can they keep that form up, or will Border Districts hold on to that top spot of the ladder?
Obviously, both coming off good wins last week, which is great to see, going into some form. I think Border Districts, they had a really good win against Keith last week. They'll be on a high. They do have Tyler Atkinson playing her 300th game at Border Districts, so I think they'll really want to win for her. So I think Border Districts will get the win, but Naracoorte will keep in touch and keep it close. All
right, congratulations. Tyler Atkinson, 300 games is a lot of games, so looking forward to hearing about the spectacle that goes on at that game. Hopefully they get the win on her behalf. And then looking on to our next game, this should be the match of the round. Keith hosting Penola, so really good challenge for Penola like we spoke about a moment ago. Are they a chance of the upset here, or do you think Keith will really keep a stranglehold on that top 2 position?
Well, I think it's been fantastic. And the best thing with this game, no matter what the weather conditions, they'll be playing indoors. So there'll be no weather conditions to contend with. So it'll be a fantastic spectacle of netball. As we've said, Penola can really get those goals on the board, having the best percentage in this grade. So I think they'll probably take it up to Keith. Keith coming off a disappointing loss last week. They'll really want to get back into the swing of things and have a great game. But I think Penola will hold on in a good game in this one.
All right, looking forward to that one. Like I said, should be the match of the round. This is another one to look forward to. It is quite a action-packed round. Kaibi Bolite are hosting Mundalla, so sitting in 4th and 6th. We just spoke about Mundalla. Need to get a win like this one to sort of keep touch with that top 4 or 5. Could this be one that they steal?
I think it could be. I think this would be great. Like Kaibi's probably got the lowest percentage at the moment in the top 5 for the A grade, so yeah, they're probably great in the goal circle. Probably can't stop as many goals, I think. And Mundalla, the opposite. They're struggling in the goal circle, but a great defensive lineup. So, again, I think this will be the goal. Kaibi's goal is against Mundalla's defenders. Will be just the matchups to watch. Will be fantastic to see. I'm not sure if Mundalla will get there, but I think Kaibi will have the win, but it'll be a fantastic game. And the second best game for the round, I think.
Yeah, some really good games on the agenda there. And we've also got Bordertown. They're on the bye, so they're still seeking their first win. They'll have to wait at least one more week to get there. And once this round wraps up, every team will have played 8 games, which means everyone's played everyone once. So we're pretty much at the halfway point of the 16-round fixture, a little bit past the halfway point. So it'll be good. We'll have a bit of a wrap-up next week, and we'll be able to see exactly who's sort of sitting where as we get into the back half of the season.
Absolutely. We'll have a bit of a gauge on where it could finish in 8 weeks' time, because everyone would have played each other once. So looking forward to it, and let's hope for a great second half of the season.
It's Border Districts and Keith at the moment, but plenty of contenders hot on their tail, so we're looking forward to seeing how that goes. But it all starts this weekend with round 9. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. So, Sally, enjoy the netball this weekend, and we're looking forward to catching up again next week.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.